Competition Commission of India says FDI in multi-brand retail will promote competition. Chidambaram hopeful of convincing opposition and other parties to back 49% FDI in the insurance sector. Navy successfully test fires Brahmos supersonic cruise missile. The 290-kilometer range missile, capable of carrying a conventional warhead of 300 kilogram, test fired from a warship near Goa. Robert Vadra says allegations leveled against him are false and baseless. DLF says its business relationship with Vadra has been conducted as per highest standards of ethics and transparency. United States court orders keeping terror suspect Abu Hamza al-Masri in detention till Tuesday. Hamza, along with 4 others, extradited from London to face trial on charges of setting up a militant training camp. Philippines agrees landmark peace deal with Muslim rebels. The deal signals an end to a 40-year-old conflict that has killed more than 1 lakh people and crippled the region's economy. And in cricket, stage set for today's grand finale to ICC World 2020 in Colombo. Host Sri Lanka to take on giant killers West Indies. A very good afternoon and welcome to Midday News. I'm Amit. Let's get to the news in detail now. Amidst uproar over government's decision to allow 51% foreign direct investment in multi-brand retail, the Competition Commission of India today said that entry of big players in the retail market would encourage competition. CCI Chairman Ashok Chawla told PTI that the sector would be regulated like any other sector with no special dynamics. Government's decision on FDI in multi-brand retail had prompted UPA-allied Trinamool Congress to withdraw support from the government. Other political parties, including opposition BJP and the left parties too, expressed their reservations on opening of multi-brand retail to FDI. The decision, however, was welcomed by the industry, which described it as a huge mood lifter. Experts too have viewed the move as a pro-reform process and something that would benefit all stakeholders: farmers, small manufacturers, as well as customers. Finance Minister P. Chidambaram has expressed hope that the recent measures taken by the government will help in bringing down inflation in coming months. He, however, said that country's economic situation is still very challenging. He met with the officials of RBI and SEBI in Mumbai yesterday, and speaking to the reporters, Chidambaram said that government is committed to a well-regulated financial market and promoting investment. Promising more reforms, Chidambaram also expressed confidence that the bills on FDI in insurance and pension will be passed in Parliament, for which he will soon open dialogue with the opposition parties, including the BJP. He said that the government is committed to promoting investment, channelizing savings and helping entrepreneurs raise funds to implement projects.
Promising more reforms, Finance Minister P. Chidambaram has expressed confidence that the bills on FDI in insurance and pension will be passed in Parliament, for which he will soon open dialogue with the opposition parties, including the BJP. The Finance Minister held a meeting with the officials of RBI and SEBI in Mumbai and said that the economic situation is still very much challenging and the government is committed to promote investment, channelizing savings and helping entrepreneurs raise funds to implement projects.
The economic situation is quite challenging and we need to address certain fundamental concerns and constraints apart from regulatory issues. The regulatory issues, we will talk to the regulators, RBI and SEBI, and we will try to resolve them. But as far as the economic situation is concerned, they were quite supportive of the measures that we have taken so far, and they urged us to take more measures to address the fundamental constraints and concerns about the economy.
Finance Minister said that inflation is a cause of concern, and some steps taken on the reforms front will also cause immediate rise in inflation. However, inflation will come down in a few weeks.
Inflation is a concern, but we have taken a number of steps, and you will find that these steps will bear fruit, not immediately. They will bear fruit with a time lag, because some of the steps that we have taken will indeed cause inflation to rise in the short term. For example, adjusting the prices of diesel will cause a rise in inflation. But after a short period, a time lag, you will find that the steps that we have taken bring down prices.
With inflation hovering around 7.5% and growth below 6%, one may expect more reform measures to boost the economy. Business Desk, DD News.
The Navy today successfully test-fired the 290-kilometer range Brahmos supersonic cruise missile, which is capable of carrying a conventional warhead of 300 kilogram from a warship off the Goa coast. The cruise missile was test-fired from guided missile frigate INS Teg, the Indian Navy's latest induction from Russia. The two-stage missile, the first one being solid and the second one ramjet liquid propellant, has already been inducted into the Army and Navy, and the Air Force version is in final stages of trial. While induction of the first version of Brahmos missile system in the Indian Navy commenced from 2005 with INS Rajput, it is now fully operational with 2 regiments of the Army. Robert Vadra has said that the allegations levelled against him are utterly false, entirely baseless and defamatory. Mr. Vadra said that he is saddened by the attempts to manufacture lies against him and malign his and family image in order to gain cheap publicity. Earlier, over allegations that he was favoured by reality major DLF, Vadra said he can handle all the negativity. DLF in a statement has meanwhile insisted that its business relationship with Vadra or his companies had been conducted in individual capacity as per the highest standards of ethics and transparency. The company said that it had not received any undue benefit from any state government or any government authorities in any part of India. DLF also said in that statement that no unsecured loans were provided by them. The Interministerial Group on Coal Blocks is likely to finalize its recommendations with regard to the 31 mines allocated to public sector firms by 20th of this month. IMG, which had recently concluded the scrutiny of 31 coal blocks allotted to 51 private firms, is meeting this week to decide on the fate of 31 coal blocks allocated to the public sector firms. PSU companies will present their case before the IMG on Tuesday and Wednesday. Of the total 31 coal blocks allocated to the public sector firms, which were issued notices, around 15 coal block holders are expected to present their case on the first day, while the remaining on the second day. The firms which will make presentations include MMTC, Chhattisgarh Mineral Development Corporation and TVNL. Meanwhile, the Coal Ministry is likely to hold an internal meeting this week to discuss ways to deduct bank guarantees of private companies in case of the 14 blocks following the Inter-Ministerial Group recommendation action against them. Last month, the government had accepted the recommendations of the IMG, which had suggested the allocation of 13 mines and deduction of bank guarantees of 14 allottees. The government had formed the IMG in July to review the progress of coal blocks allocated to companies for captive use. The empowered group of ministers, the EGOM, on spectrum, headed by Finance Minister P. Chidambaram, is likely to decide on the issue of one-time spectrum fee in its meeting tomorrow. The EGOM, in its last meeting on 3rd of this month, could not decide on the issue of one-time spectrum fee for existing telecom operators as the legal opinion from the Attorney General on the matter was not received. In July, the Cabinet had referred the matter to EGOM. Later in the month, the EGOM had deferred a decision on the matter till the outcome of the presidential reference. Following the Supreme Court's opinion on the presidential reference, the government is now free to take a decision in this regard. Existing telecom service providers will decide on participating in spectrum auction based on the decision taken by the government on one-time spectrum fee. The last date for submitting application for participating in spectrum auction is October 19. The Civil Aviation Ministry has termed as erroneous the CAG's observations that undue benefits were given to operator of the Delhi International Airport. The ministry has told Parliament's Public Accounts Committee that this process of selection of joint venture partners was completed as per laid down procedure by observing all relevant guidelines and in accordance with the decisions of the Union Cabinet and the empowered group of ministers. It said that the process also underwent judicial scrutiny and was validated by the Supreme Court. In a relief for parents of paramilitary troopers killed during duty, the Union Home Ministry has made it mandatory for forces to give a portion of the ex gratia amount to them as well, apart from the Jawan's spouse. The country's largest paramilitary forces and the mainstay of anti-Naxal operations, CRPF, has started the practice of disbursing this risk fund amount in such a manner. The Home Ministry has now asked all the forces to evolve a uniform mechanism in this regard, as till now the next of the kin of the married trooper, which is the spouse in most cases, used to get the funds in case of death on duty. The step was taken after numerous cases of spouse and parents tussle over the claim on ex gratia amount were reported in forces like CRPF, BSF, ITBP, CISF, SSB and NSG. On to the Kaveri issue now. Amidst water sharing dispute between the two southern states, the Kaveri Monitoring Committee will meet in New Delhi on Thursday to decide on the issue of release of water from Karnataka to Tamil Nadu after October 15. The Kaveri River Authority, that's the CRA, had recently directed Karnataka to release 9,000 cusecs of water to Tamil Nadu on a daily basis between September 20 and October 15. The Monitoring Committee will decide on the quantity of water to be released by Karnataka after October 15. A central team is already visiting the two states to see water level in reservoirs, the condition of standing crops and water flow. The visit will help the Kaveri Monitoring Committee to take a call on the issue of further release of water. The team also interacted with farmers to understand the ground realities about standing crops and water requirement. A large number of people, including tribals, have set out on a Jan Satyagrah march to Delhi from Gwalior to highlight the problems of landless poor. Nearly 50,000 persons in groups of 1,000 each are taking part in this march. Rural Development Minister Jairam Ramesh had invited the agitators to New Delhi on October 11 to hold further talks with them on all their issues. United Nations 11th Conference of Parties, that's the COP, of the Convention on Biodiversity will begin tomorrow at Hyderabad. Environment Minister Jayanti Natarajan will inaugurate the 12-day-long conference. A total of 193 delegates are expected to attend the world's most important conference on protecting the planet's diminishing biodiversity. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh will inaugurate the high-level segment of the COP11 on 16th of this month. COP11 is expected to review progress so far and to produce decisions that will provide further momentum for implementation of the targets. During the meeting, the status of biodiversity in the world's oceans will also be highlighted. A report on ecologically and biologically significant marine areas will also be presented. The conference will conclude on 19th of this month. News on ISRO missions now. ISRO plans to launch 58 space missions, including sending spacecraft to Moon and Mars, an exclusive satellite to keep around-the-clock watch on the country, and deploy nearly 500 transponders in the next 5 years. The space agency also aims to deploy its own version of the Global Positioning System by putting into orbit a constellation of 7 satellites, which would form the Indian Regional Navigational Satellite System, that's the IRNSS. According to the 12th five-year plan approved by the Cabinet last week, the Indian Space Research Organisation plans to add 400 transponders to the existing 187 to meet the growing demand from DTH operators, satellite mobile communications and new generation broadband VSAT systems. The space agency is also designing a special Eye in the Sky geo-imaging satellite or GSAT to be stationed 36,000 kilometers above to maintain round-the-clock vigil and assist state authorities to tackle natural disasters, floods and forest fires and keep a watch over the country's sensitive borders. News related to financial inclusion now. Government has asked public sector banks to review the level of activity in rural accounts, which were opened under financial inclusion drive. The state-owned banks were recently asked to ensure one account per family in the country to facilitate direct transfer of subsidy under 32 central schemes. With an aim at financial inclusion, Swabhiman campaign was launched in 2010-11 to extend banking facilities in unbanked villages with a population of over 2,000, and over 74,000 such villages were covered. Under the campaign, over 3.25 crore bank accounts in rural areas were opened. Banks have also been asked to establish an ultra-small branch in each of such village, with a bank official visiting them at least once a week. Rating agency ICRA has said that private sector is expected to contribute over 60% of the total power generation capacity addition targeted for the 12th five-year plan. ICRA in its report said that the private sector is expected to add around 54,000 megawatt of capacity during the 12th plan out of the 88,000 megawatt target. Currently, thermal capacity of about 85,000 megawatt is under construction across the country, of which nearly 63% is being undertaken by the private sector. During the 11th five-year plan period, 54,962 megawatts were added, of which nearly 42% were contributed by the private sector. Radical Islamic cleric Abu Hamza al-Masri will remain in detention till his formal arraignment on Tuesday. A united court ordered that all three men, including Hamza, will be detained, and they are scheduled to appear before federal judges in New York on Tuesday. Abu Hamza were flown out from the UK along with 4 other terror suspects yesterday. Besides Hamza, the others who were extradited are Adel Abdul Bari, Khalid Al-Fawaz, Babar Ahmed and Sayyid Talha Ehsan. The other 4 terror suspects pleaded not guilty in the US courts, where they were produced soon after their arrival in the United States. However, Hamza entered no plea to charges of conspiring with Seattle men to set up a terrorist training camp in Oregon and of helping abduct 16 hostages, 2 of them American tourists, in Yemen in 1998. The Philippine government and the Muslim rebels have agreed for a peace deal for the country's troubled south. This was announced by Philippines President Benigno Aquino. This signals the end of a 40-year-old conflict that killed more than 1 lakh people and crippled the region's economy. The deal sets in train a roadmap to create a new autonomous region in the Muslim-majority areas in the south of the mainly Catholic country before the end of Aquino's term in 2016. The agreement was reached after talks in Malaysia and is expected to be signed formally on the 15th of October in the Philippine capital, Manila. And after these international stories, let's get you the sports news, beginning with the big day. A couple of finals lined up in the 2020 World Cup. In the men's category, West Indies is all set to take on Sri Lanka in the ICC World T20 finals today in Colombo. West Indies entered the finals after crushing Australia by 74 runs in the semi-finals, while Sri Lanka ensured its final berth after they defeated Pakistan in the other semi-final. Well, this match, the men's finals, will happen at 7 in the evening, but right now at the R. Premadasa Stadium, you have the finals of the Women's World Cup. England had won the toss, they elected to field first, and after 6 overs, Australia 47 for no loss. On to the news on marathon that happened this morning in Delhi. Sandeep Kumar from Uttar Pradesh won the ITBP half marathon held in the national capital today. 2009 Delhi half marathon winner Soji Matthew finished second, while Rati Ram Saini from Rajasthan grabbed the third position. Bollywood actor Salman Khan flagged off the event, which had a participation of over 25,000 people. The Run for the Nation marathon was organized by the Indo-Tibetan Border Police as part of their Golden Jubilee celebrations. In news and after marathon, let's get you some tennis news. Diana Pace and his Czech partner Radek Stepnik faltered at the final hurdle as they suffered an upset straight set defeat at the hands of Alexander Payer of Austria and Brazil's Bruno Soares to finish runners-up at the ATP Japan Open in Tokyo. The 4-seeded Austrian-Brazilian pair defeated top seeds Pace and Stepnik 6-3, 7-6 in an hour and 46 minutes in the hardcourt event to win their second ATP World Tour doubles title in as many weeks. On to motorsports now. Red Bull's Sebastian Vettel took a dominant victory in the Japanese Grand Prix to put himself in a strong position to win the world title. Championship leader Fernando Alonso of Ferrari retired on the first lap and had to watch out as Vettel cut his lead to 4 points. Alonso suffered a puncture when he was hit from behind by Lotus's Kimi Raikkonen. Ferrari's Felipe Massa took second ahead of Sauber's Kamui Kobayashi. It was Massa's first podium of the year and may well have secured his future at Ferrari, while Kobayashi held off a late charge from McLaren's Jenson Button to take a maiden career podium. And in some other stories, a classical dance festival Ananya began at the capital's historic Purana Kila complex over the weekend. The festival has been organized by Delhi government's Art, Culture and Languages Department in collaboration with Archaeological Survey of India, Seher and Doordarshan. Leading dancers of the country are participating in the 5-day-long cultural extravaganza. The 11th edition of the annual festival will be on Wednesday. So the cultural dance festival Ananya will be on in the capital till coming Wednesday. And with that story, here's a recap of the headlines we're following at this hour. Competition Commission of India says FDI in multi-brand retail will promote competition. Chidambaram hopeful of convincing opposition and other parties to back 49% FDI in the insurance sector. Navy successfully test fires Brahmos supersonic cruise missile. The 290-kilometer range missile, capable of carrying a conventional warhead of 300 kilogram, test fired from a warship near Goa. Robert Vadra says allegations levelled against him are false and baseless. DLF says its business relationship with Vadra has been conducted as per highest standards of ethics and transparency. United States court orders keeping terror suspect Abu Hamza al-Masri in detention till Tuesday. Hamza, along with 4 others, extradited from London to face trial on charges of setting up a militant training camp. Philippines agrees on landmark peace deal with Muslim rebels. The deal signals an end to a 40-year-old conflict that has killed more than 1 lakh of people and tripled the region's economy. And in cricket, stage set for today's grand finale to ICC World 2020 in Colombo. Host Sri Lanka to take on giant killers West Indies. Well, Australia are 52 for 1 in the 8th over in the women's final. That's all in this news edition. Coming up next, Chandrasekhar Joshi joins you with Hindi News. Keep watching DD News. Namaskar.